Greetings and salutations, friend. I am Jeremy Tank, and if you are watching this, I'm here for you. Thanks. Today I want to talk a little bit about the idea of the glass in the funnel. The glass in the funnel. And, I'm going to start with a little story because we all have good days and bad days, right? We all have days where it's really easy to get in the groove and to feel in line with the things you're doing and to know that you are taking the right steps, and that, and we know when we take those steps that it's easier for our minds to be in a positive space and to recognize the things that are going right around us and how to build up what we're doing and help us move forward, right? There are mechanisms within our brains, within our body, that help us see that we're in a good place. The reticular activating system is one of those. It helps us pick up the good cues that are going on. But to get there, we have to we have to recognize those good things. And that, it has a lot to do with being thankful, being grateful, recognizing the things that are going right, to train our brain that those are the things that we want to focus on, right? Like you know that you can be anywhere and be having a good day, but if you're not seeing the good things in your day, if you're only focusing on bad things throughout your day, then it's going to be a lot harder for you to recognize the goodness of your day, whatever that is. But just because, and not just because, wherever you are, how's that? Wherever you are, life has ups and downs, and certainly men and women have their different hormonal cycles, life cycles, mental cycles, just states of being, sometimes based on food, sometimes something you ate, drank, you didn't sleep well. So, for all the highs, you recognize that there can be the potential of a day or a time or a feeling of lowness, or not as great as you could be, right? Not feeling top of the line, not feeling super energetic, not feeling super aligned, just really trying to take what Aurelia yesterday said, was just well-planned, aligned steps to move you forward. Today's one of those days for me. Today's one of those days where I'm trying to be with it. I'm trying to have my energy. I'm trying to share everything. But for some reason, there is just sort of this emptiness here, and I'm just going on. And one of the reasons that I do this in the afternoons, and this may be evening for some people when you watch this video, it may be early morning, it may be halfway around the world, and it doesn't matter to you, and that's cool. For me, I put this in the afternoon because that's when I generally feel like I have more energy to face the world. I've collected my thoughts, I've done meditation, I've done a little bit of Qigong, actually, and today I've focused on a lot of that stuff to try and get myself to the point of just feeling confident and energetic enough to come share myself with you without a lot of bad language in my head about myself and the way that I look or the way that I feel or other things. And I'm trying to figure out where the source of that stuff is coming from today. And that's kind of what gets me around to today's topic. You see, when I was brought up, I have a younger brother, and when I was brought up with him and our parents were married, we lived in a state where both of us had to behave a lot. And that's what it was called for us, is best behavior. Be on your best behavior. And that meant that a lot of times we weren't allowed to be kids. And I'm talking like 4 and 5, sometimes 3 for my brother. We weren't allowed to be kids. We were supposed to be silent and sitting in a corner and behaving. And that's a lot of ways how we were trained. My mom was a dog breeder, and my dad is the son of an Air Force guy. So my dad certainly had a lot of rigidity when he was growing up. He moved around a lot. He said that his dad actually gave him like white glove tests when they were cleaning the house, cleaning his room to make sure that it was actually clean. That's some pretty rigid stuff going on, right? And today, that, at least to me, that seems a little over the top. Of course, I'm also pointed the camera this way so you don't see any of the mess, any of the clutter of my life behind the camera. And that's cool, because that's part of social media. I get to show you and share with you who I am without divulging just how sloppy I can be. But that's true. That's part of me as well. So growing up, there was this thought that I had to be perfect. I had to be silent. I had to go with the flow. And I don't know if this is a similar instance with you growing up, but it basically felt like my parents weren't going to love me unless I was in perfect behavior when they had company or when we went out or something like that. And that was actually reinforced because of the times where my brother and I would start fighting or playing or something else in the middle of social time for my parents. And I'm not trying to say like they were bad parents. It's just this is the challenges of raising kids, I guess. I don't have kids. This is sort of interesting in my own reflection looking back. But it certainly happened that there were times where my brother and I would play, or we would get kind of noisy or ruckus, and my dad would get ticked and come over and give us a swat on the butt and tell us to behave, sit us on a wall. Mom would come over and say, we're trying to get stuff done, so I need you to be on your best behavior. And so that's what really started to fill my behavior, is that when people are around, when things are going on, I'm not deserving of attention, and I need to be on best behavior to make somebody else comfortable and do what they need to do. Later on, when my parents divorced, that best behavior, for me at least, being the older child, was you have to make sure your brother is taken care of. You have to make sure that you are mature. You have to make sure that you don't rock the boat and make things more difficult. Your job as the older sibling, as the person of the man of the house at like 6 or 7 here, your job as the man of the house is to hold things together. And it was primarily our mom who raised us. We spent summers with my dad when I was in my teens, but mom was pretty much raising us, and so she worked a couple of different jobs. My brother and I had lots of different babysitters and nannies over the years who would stay with us for days and sometimes weeks and months as my mom went away on trips. And she worked a sales job, so she was actually out in the field a lot, like 42 weeks out of the year, 42 out of 52, right? That's a lot of time to be away from your kids, but it was also a lot of time where various nannies didn't know what to do with me, didn't know what to do with my brother. They just knew, dinners at some time, and honestly, the directions were, Jeremy will take care of it. Jeremy knows how to manage this stuff. Jeremy knows all the stuff that needs to get done. The kids handle their own laundry, mostly because we figured it out at some point. And my job was to not rock the boat. Don't cause trouble. Don't rebel too much, because that's not my position. Just continue things forward, rolling within the system of life that we created. Calling while I'm doing live, it's kind of funny. So that worked pretty well as far as programming me, and since my mom, I always say I'm part dog, because my mom bred dogs for a long time: beagles, sheepdogs, Newfoundlands, bloodhounds, basset hounds, a couple other breeds in there throughout the years, and I am certainly influenced by a lot of dog training tactics. It's actually kind of funny now that I'm older and I can look back and see, positive reinforcement versus negative reinforcement, treat reinforcement. These are things I actually respond to, and I realize it on an instinctual, guttural level. My Pavlovian response. It's a little bit funny, but she used those tools to help craft my brother and me into stable people that could move forward in their lives, and that she didn't have to be around to tend to us. And then when my dad came back into life, it was an interesting place, because dad was no longer the overbearing, very strict person that he used to be. He was actually pursuing his own dream, his own life dream, and that was diving and collecting fish in the Florida Keys. So when I got to relearn who my dad was and actually rediscover him in my teens, he was this fun guy down in the Florida Keys who just remarried a woman who was a significant amount younger than him and lived in this property, and he went out on the ocean every single day of the year, and dove and caught fish and sold them to like aquariums and wholesalers up in Miami and up in Fort Lauderdale. And we get to spend some summers with him, which was great because suddenly my dad wasn't the strict person from when I was young. He was very much this guy of like, we'll play. He learned how to play somewhere along the way, and he was willing because his sons were old enough to play. And things, he was trying to make things light and fun and enjoyable instead of that strict disciplinarian that really, that's how I know him from my youth. So that gets a little confusing in my head these days. And when like I said, I'm sort of having, peak trough day. On a trough day, that's kind of where I am right now. I reflect on things like that, and I think, okay, well, what is some of the behavior that changed in him that made him lighter, more full of life? Well, he was pursuing what he wanted to pursue. He was doing something that he loved his entire life. He was sailing, he was diving, he was on the water, he was collecting fish, he was experiencing life that was energetic to him and driving things forward. But there was another part of this, and that was that he decided for himself that, how do I put this? The squeaky wheel gets the grease. He decided that he was tired of acclimating to society and the flow and being quiet and not disturbing things, and that it was up to him to make a fuss about everything, about anything that wasn't going his way. Make a fuss and make sure that he was seen and observed so that his boundaries and his needs were met. And I've read a lot of different posts lately. There seemed to be a trend going on, at least through my feed, about people finding their own boundaries and actually resetting those boundaries with the people around them and getting resistance, getting pushback from the people around them, because the people around them, that hasn't been an identity, that hasn't been who that person is. It's not been what they want. And it's difficult when you think you see someone, understand someone, feel what they're feeling, are very empathetic and compassionate to where they are, when they suddenly go, look, you've been reading me wrong, and I need to push back against your force because I'm not feeling safe, I'm not feeling valued, and I'm not feeling worthy. Now that unfamiliarity on both fronts creates conflict. To the person who is receiving that pushback, it's like, who are you? Where did this come from? What's coming up with you? And a lot of times they want to blame the person. It's your fault. What do you think I'm doing wrong? I'm doing the same thing I've always done. And on the person on the other side who is setting boundaries, it is incredibly guilt-inducing. Imagine if you've done dishes your entire life. Every time I went to go visit my dad, he didn't have a dishwasher. Zach and I became the dishwashers. That's just the way it was. And at home, I often made sure the dishes were going and taken care of. I still do that at home now. And there are times where I start to feel resentful because I am still stuck in that role. And the thing is that nobody gave me that role. I took that role because I am familiar with that role. Marissa Peer says that you play the role you've ever known until that role becomes your own. So you start doing things that you have become familiar with doing until the point that you are the person that does that thing, and everybody sees you and identifies that with you. Now, at the time and the point that you go, well, screw this, I want a different role, the world is going to rebel. There's too much friction between how the world sees what you have been and the new boundary that you have set. And so a lot of times the world, the universe, rebels against that. And there's pushback. And that's the thing, is that you have an absolute right to set your boundaries. and to reset your boundaries, and to find new boundaries, and to find new confidence in yourself, to keep pushing those boundaries outwards and securing for yourself that you are good enough. You are absolutely worthy to accomplish anything in your life. Set the boundaries, don't let people push them down. But by God, when you do that and you stand strong in that, I don't know about you, it's incredibly guilt-inducing because other people feel hurt because I set a boundary. They feel abused and victimized because I'm stating I don't want to do that anymore. I need other options. And that's actually how I approach things. Look, I am getting fed up to this point with this, whatever this is that I've been doing, and I need other options, or I reject the default that you have given me. My dad got remarried after years after the Florida Keys stuff. And one of the things that he really appreciated and made a lot of mention to was the strength of his new wife to go into a place and demand something that really should be provided, or service that should be provided, or something that should be done, demanding actual service, demanding that somebody help or accomplish something instead of just do the minimum. And a lot of times, there's a great video on YouTube that is Seth Godin talking to a school about the education system. And it's a bunch of students in the class, and he says, everybody put up your hands, and they go like this. All right, now put up your hands higher, and then they do this. And he says, the point is that put up your hands, that's what every employee is going to do. That's what everybody pretty much with another person is going to do when they're given an order, when they're given a command. They're going to give the least amount of effort possible to accomplish it. The brain favors efficiency. Do the least amount of work to get the task done. The body and the brain, that's what it wants to do. And honestly, that is a survival mechanism to help you stay alive. To not give 100%, to not give everything you can. Because if you do, then that's one of those boundaries. And the point of that was, the point of that is that you kind of have to go all out sometimes, but we don't when giving service, we don't when helping people, because there's a lot of, in advertising, they called it radio me. I listen to radio me. I don't care about you, my life. If I'm the employee, then I care about radio me. I want to know when I'm getting paid. Am I going to get a bonus? Do I get tipped? That sort of thing. It is very rare that you find the employee who goes, I really am focused on you. I want to know what is in your life, what is in your vision, your hopes, dreams, and can I get you another glass of water? Can I get you another milk? Can I get you another plate? And so one of the things my dad really liked about his new wife was that she was not afraid to stand up and set those boundaries and say, look, I deserve more than you are giving. And if you want my service, if you want my everything, whatever that is, then you need to do more. You need to meet me more than this quarter of the way that you're willing to give. Halfway is at least, compromise in the middle. And business doesn't like to generally do that, do they? Generally, businesses are out for profit and to make sure things keep rolling forward, and that means giving as little as possible. That's a very corporate way to look at things, I understand. So this gets me around to my props for today. My props for today are the glass and the funnel. If you liked yesterday's Post-it notes props, this is, I'm stepping it up a notch. This is high-class props here, right? Glass and a funnel. Because here's the thing. When we have these beliefs that we're brought up with, for me, it was, sit down, behave, don't rock the boat. It made me a really good little kid for my dad. It made me a really good big brother for my brother when my mom was gone a lot and there was nannies all over the place. And It made me a decent employee for the first several years that I worked in places. When I worked at Barnes & Noble, it made me a great employee because I just would shut up and do the task. When I worked at the ad agency, it made me a really good employee because I would just shut up and do the task. Funny enough, my boss at the agency was very much like, he was one of those that wanted to be the squeaky wheel all the time for everybody else. And he said it all the time, like the squeaky wheel gets the attention, the squeaky wheel gets the grease. So you have to be a squeaky wheel. You have to go out in the world and start making a ton of noise. You have to go out in the world and make sure you set your boundaries and that people respect those boundaries and that you hold to them and you shout them from the rooftops. Otherwise, people do not know how to interact with you. You set the tone there. So in my entire life growing up, just imagine there's water coming through here and filling this cup, okay? I was told one thing, and it was filtered in through my filter of experience. Consider that the world, the universe, is just pouring down energy, and this funnel is my consciousness coming down into this glass, filling it up. And this glass was all those rules that I was given when I was younger. It's all those ideas, those thoughts, those things that said that I had to be a certain way to be able to be a good child, that I had to act a certain way to take care of somebody else. That certain religions are right and certain religions are wrong, that certain people deserve to be loved and certain people deserve to be hated. These are not things that come naturally through the funnel from the universe down into you. These are part of the glass. These are things that are holding the container. They're part of the container of you and me. They're part of things that are taught to us about the world around us. And they deserve to be gone. They don't even deserve to exist in there. Because it taints. It makes the water part of the container. It makes it part of the thought, part of the process. And they don't need to be there. And that's the thing that today, on my down day, I keep reflecting on. Is that these thoughts, these experiences, they don't need to be that. Because really, when we're talking about the universe, let's see if I can get this there. When we're talking about the universe, it's not water, right? This glass is just as full now than it was a few moments ago. A few moments ago, it was water, which was all the bad feelings in me, which is all that bad programming, which is all the thoughts, the stuff in me that kind of makes me angry and aggravated when I think back on things that I've been taught and the contradictions now that I'm trying to come to terms with as I move forward. Because the thing is that this is still full. Just like everything around you is full of energy of some kind. You can't see it, but it's there. And that's the quantum field idea, right? It's always filtering down in through you. It's always there. It's always filling you up. And the thing is, if we look at this, that's the subconscious mind. That's the holder of all this stuff. It creates the shape of what happens within. It shapes the energy within, your soul, your consciousness, your being, your quantum essence, right? And if we're looking at this as the universe is not just here, it's everything all around. And your consciousness is coming in through the funnel and going down into the glass, right? And the thing is that when the consciousness is coming down through the funnel into the glass, there's a funny thing that happens, because when we take that glass from the place of the quantum, from the place that anything can be, and we remove all the crud in there that doesn't need to be there, right? The feeling of not enough, the feeling of I'm not worthy, I have to be perfect. It's just a bunch of BS. You are worthy. Wherever you're going to in life, you're going to get there. You are perfectly fine in every single second, every single now, every single moment to make the choice to move towards your future. And when you do that, you're not coming from the point of the subconscious mind. You're not coming from the point of physical programming where water flows into the glass and takes the shape of the glass. You're coming from the point of super consciousness. You're coming from the point of the quantum field, from the point where everything is possible. And when you do that, you start to reshape, reprogram that subconscious mind. And when you reprogram the subconscious mind, you're reprogramming how your body reacts to different situations. You programming your body to hold energy differently, to think about energy differently, to witness, feel, taste, smell, and see energy differently. And when you start to see, think, and feel it differently, you realize that the glass is not this. The glass is whatever you want it to be. The glass is you, and the glass is your future and your possibility. The glass is something fun and something that's more indicative of who you are. And the thing that fills it up is constantly filling up and rolling over the top. It never ends. You are so full of life and energy and love, and you get to be anything you want in the physical form. And if we just open up to that quantum expression and let go of all that water and BS inside and understand, look, it's all energy, it's all around you, it's all inside you, then maybe you can craft something a little bit nicer with your physical form that feels more like you. And isn't that worth having? All right, guys, that's me for today. Thanks so much for watching. Teresa and Patrick, thanks, guys. I love you guys. If anybody is interested about the work that I do, I'm really getting down. I'm starting to offer some free RTT sessions to select people if you qualify, if you're trying to go for your goal, your purpose, your drive, something that really inspires you to be more and do more with the world and what you've got. That's the sort of RTT that I'm offering for free right now. It's just so I can really get a handle on how to help people take the next steps in their lives, really holding purpose inside and affecting the world with it. And if you're interested in the entire program, that is called Manifest Design. It's an 8-step program that's all about finding your vision, your brand, your customers, your competitive audits, so you understand where you stand in all of that, and really helping you take the next steps. And of course, RTT is part of that process. So if you're curious about any of this stuff, look me up on www.thinktankcreative.net. And if this is helpful at all, shout down in the comments. Tell me what was helpful. Tell me if it's interesting. Tell me what caught your attention, what made you feel good inside maybe. And if you have questions, write them below, because I would love some ideas for content in the future, ideas that is from my perspective, my mind, that's all of these concepts of Eastern, Western, medicine, quantum science, biology, all this stuff coming together to really help you be better at being you and getting what you want out of the world. God, that stuff, I guess I'm really passionate about that stuff. So yeah, and otherwise, like, share, comment, help me out, understand, how I can help. Help me help you. Help me help you. I love that movie. All right, guys. Thank you so much. I love you. Take care. Bye.